Hello, welcome to the GenXplainers podcast. I'd like to welcome the panel. We have Mike, we have Al, we have Mandy, and we're going to be talking movies. Specifically the Oscar nominees for this year. First of all, let me ask about the Best Picture category, guys. Let me poll the panel. How many of these 10 nominees have you seen? I'll start. I've seen 8.
I saw 7.
I saw 7.
I saw 7 as well.
Oh, so I win. Oh,
you win.
What do you win?
Well, let's start going through these nominees and just go one by one alphabetically and see what we think. So Best Picture, the first one we'll talk about is Anora.
If I get married to an American, I wouldn't have to go back to Russia.
Okay, so who should marry?
And do you, Anora, take this handsome gentleman to be your...
My wife!
Да я был с ним 2 недели назад буквально. Он не женат.
Well, you did tell them, right?
Иванчан, открой дверь, пожалуйста.
Vanya, should I call 911?
Ты женился на какой-то проститутке?
What?
Это она?
Who's seen Anora? All right, we've all seen it. So we don't have to talk about it. No, just kidding. All right, director Sean Baker. I'm going to try to give the directors their due right at the top. Sean Baker directed it. Let's start with Mandy. What did you think of Anora?
I loved it. This one was the one that led me to the feeling it was a slower year. So I'm kind of contradicting myself, but I didn't necessarily think it was Best Picture worthy. I felt like it was a great movie. I thought there was some good acting in it, but it just didn't feel like a Best Picture nominee to me. It almost seemed like for the first 30 minutes, like a music video. But I did like it. I liked her. I totally thought she was from Jersey the whole time I was watching it. And Alan and I had a whole conversation about her accent in it and that how even when she would cry and get mad and everything, it just stayed. And yeah, I liked it, but whether or not it's like Best Picture worthy, that's a whole thing for me. I don't know if it is.
Okay.
So
how about you, Al?
So similar. First of all, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought the performances were good across the board, really. There wasn't a weak performance in it. I mean, the direction I also thought was really strong. It's a constant question for me because to me this is a B movie, kind of like just the subject material and the arc of the story is just a B movie, not the B movie, but a B movie, and it's really, really well done. But I don't know that there's anything that pushes it above that. I do think that Mikey Madison was really, really good and definitely worth a Best Actress nomination, which she got. Or sorry, Best... Is it Best Actress?
Best Actress, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought this year they were starting to say like Best Female Actor. Like I think they're trying to get rid of the term actress.
Oh, no, it's... Well,
no, that was the Golden Globes.
Golden Globes, yeah. Yeah, Oscars are still, differentiating.
We're rooted in the 40s.
It was a really great performance for a woman. Yeah.
That lady actor was good.
I think that should be your soundbite for promoting this.
Yeah. How about you, Mike?
This was my front runner until I got later on into viewing. And then it became less of a front runner for me. However, I agree with what Mandy and Alan said. I do strongly feel that it should be on the list though, because I just absolutely love the movie. Think it's powerful. Think it's strong. The problem that I had the most with it though was I didn't know whether to classify it as a drama or comedy. And in the end I said it was a comedy. But I still, just because of the fact that I found so many elements of it to be a little bit over the top, but at the same time they're pushing it in such a way, and I was laughing a lot more than I thought I was going to. Mm-hmm. But I think Mikey Madison is like that was she's one of the 2 best performances of the year in the films that I've seen. So
Okay.
I agree with that.
I think what the term is dramedy.
dramedy. No, it's not.
It's not a black comedy.
See, and I would have put it as a comedy up until the last 20 minutes. Like, and then the last 20 minutes definitely solidified that it was a drama to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I in my notes or in my thoughts on it, I said that the first part was almost like and it goes with the expectations that I had because of the marketing of the film. The first part felt like, it's going to be a Romeo and Juliet star-crossed lovers kind of thing, but then and I have in my notes, it takes a comic turn with bumbling Armenians, which we all know about bumbling Armenians. Anyway, and actually,
No comment.
The Kardashians.
As a Turk, you could not say anything.
I'm not saying a word.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Where are you going?
The car.
It's 5-minute walk.
No, I'm not walking down that
No, I'm not
fucking
gonna look for
crazy.
other parking. Come on, let's go.
Why don't we
It's right here. Walk, chop.
Orası bir ցուրտ եմ վիճակ ախպերինա դես անում շատ տղան եմ արա բեսմարթինա դի
So when it first kind of became that, almost like a comedy almost, I was a little sort of almost turned off by it. Like, oh, well, what is this? But then again, I started thinking I'm enjoying this a little more than the beginning. So I was like, okay, I'm on for the ride. And then, the last 20 minutes, once I want to, whatever, spoilers. I don't care about spoilers. If you're listening to this,
Spoiler alert.
go see the movies. We did most of them. But when it starts becoming clear that her dream or fantasy about this life she's going to have is untrue and the guy's a prick, her performance really just takes the show, takes over and makes the last part of the movie really powerful and great. And I wasn't, I thought she was fine. And then at the end I realized, oh no, she's a really good actress.
Yeah.
And I, in the last 20 minutes, especially the last scene.
Yeah.
It's that last scene.
That particular character, his character, that sold everything else that happened before because of him. And he was so good in, I didn't realize how good he was until that last part.
I think the way his character was written and the way he sort of, as the movie's going, you start getting an inkling like, oh, I'm seeing some kind of like, obviously interest
Chemistry.
Perhaps and chemistry between them and interest from him. But it's very, it's pretty gradual. And and the more you learn and he kind of gets revealed slowly. And it's really a great way to do it. I think maybe the writing and the direction was a lot of it too. And he was great too. But, and then it culminates in that last scene, which was very powerful and really well done. So Anora, I have to say I was pleasantly surprised because I didn't feel like I wanted to see it before I watched it.
Yeah.
Because again, I think the marketing made it seem something to me and I have all these preconceived notions and I got to not do that because I really wound up really liking it.
I would just to put the little cherry on top. I agree about that the final 20 minutes and the final scene, and actually would even say that I think like the last, like I was saying, like I don't know if there's anything that elevates this movie. If there is, it's the last 30 seconds of the film. Is really it really grabs you. It really It feels like an emotional culmination.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's a good way to put it because I think that it leaves you up to that point. I didn't feel so much emotionally drained, but at the end, when that actually all happened in that final scene, I felt drained at the end.
Or it might have been a release because she plays so tough the whole time.
The whole time.
Okay, she's like got this, fuck you, F you attitude. And then even when Jersey Shore, and things are going wrong, she lashes out in anger, and then when she's boxed in a corner and forced to sign papers or whatever, she's just, holding things in. And then at that last scene, she tries to connect in a way she
only knows how.
But then it lets go. And that last moment is like, really well done. And I think
Jersey Shore.
I think we might, it was a great ending. And I think I want to end the podcast the same way. No.
Okay.
Oh my.
So basically of all the nominees, she's the Snooki of the nominees.
Yes.
She is the Snooki of the nominees.
Okay, we gotta get through these
let's move
faster.
Yes.
The Brutalist is the next one. Who saw The Brutalist? I am the only
You're the only one.
So this will go faster.
Yes, this will go much faster. Let me just take a look at my notes. Brady Corbett is the director. Let's just start with saying the performances were great. Adrian Brody was fantastic. Guy Pearce, Felicity Jones, all very good all around. Sort of. Oh, let me just also say this right off the bat. It's 3.5 hours long, and it does not need to be, although it didn't really bug me that much in general. It's just like, I mean, I'm an editor, so I see a movie like that and I go, come on, man, really? You can get this down to 2.5, maybe 3, or maybe even 2.5. That said, it's a very good movie. Visually stunning. So yeah, great acting, great visuals, directed wonderfully. One thing that's interesting and impactful is the sound design, and the soundtrack is very interesting. It really, technically in that aspect, really effective.
These are yours, yes? Yes. All of them? Yes. Tell me, why is an accomplished foreign architect shoveling coal here in Philadelphia?
I'm afraid it is not so simple.
The one thing about it, it's technically brilliant, great acting. I found it hard to emotionally connect somehow, and I think that might be because of the script. And it's interesting. I'm finding a pattern with modern movies that if I compare it to like great films of the past, like great films today, so-called, or if they're considered great compared to old ones, I'm not, again, the acting is great, but I just feel like the story and the arc of the narrative isn't grabbing me, certainly not at an emotional level. The actors might get me in a scene, but like when the whole thing is looked at as an arc, it doesn't, I'm like, okay. Anyway, but then I think about like something like The Godfather. It's like, well, that's everything. I mean, that's like, I'm completely emotionally and intellectually engaged in that, and it's everything technically is perfect. I mean, obviously that's, not all movies are going to be that, but so
wait, you're saying that some of the movies of today are not measuring up to one of the greatest films of all time.
Yes,
so that's fair,
and I don't like it. Come on, people. Okay. Anyway, I'll wrap this up. My last note on it says, it gave me There Will Be Blood vibes as far as like tone and feel. But if it had engaged me in that emotional way more, maybe it's my failing, but this is my experience, I would have think it would be like a genius level movie, as good as There Will Be Blood, which I loved.
Fewer milkshakes.
Yeah, if you added a milkshake scene. But that being said, it is 3.5 hours long. It'll eventually be available in your living room. Maybe it is now. I would say definitely try to see it. Maybe there's an intermission, so there's a natural point in there, and I needed it in the theater. They hit the intermission. I'm like, thank God, I got to go pee. So anyway, that's The Brutalist. I think it definitely deserves to be nominated, and I feel like it has a chance. Didn't it win the Golden Globe? No, what won the Golden Globe?
It did, I think, didn't it? Yeah.
It has a really good chance because it is really good. It's a good movie. So there you go. Let's move on to something perhaps we've seen, more people have seen.
I have not.
A Complete Unknown. Well, I know that two of us have, because I have not seen it either. So A Complete Unknown is the next one. The director, let me just get this, James Mangold. I have no notes, but I can say that it's a biopic of a period of Bob Dylan's life. Yes? Mandy and Al, you saw it, right?
Yes.
That is correct.
What'd you think?
I loved it. I've never been much of a Bob Dylan fan as a person or a musician, so it actually made me appreciate and like Bob Dylan more. I love me Timothée Chalamet. He's my boy. And I thought he did an excellent job. I do think it could be his year. I think he's going to be fighting it out with Adrian Brody, but he did a really good job. I felt that the Fanning girl did a really good job as well. The woman who played Joan Baez was amazing. I think that Elle Fanning should have gotten the nomination over her. But yeah, it was. I thought it was great.
How did it compare to James Mangold's last film, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny?
Well, didn't he also do Walk the Line?
He did, yeah.
Yeah. So
let's take it easy on James.
It's a biopic. There's not much to say. Like, I mean, it's the story of Bob. But the one thing that was cool about it was a lot of times with biopics, it starts from like the beginning of their life to the end of their life, or where they're at in their life now. This one was just a period of time. Like, it wasn't from like, so that was nice. It was just a glimpse into like, what was it, like maybe 3 years, or
was it the period just before he went electric and everyone got upset?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's kind of like from his discovery to like when he went electric. And so that was kind of cool.
I hear Bob is playing electric.
Not on our stage, he isn't.
Oh my God, it's Bob Dylan.
Once upon a time, you're just so fine.
They just want me singing Blowing in the Wind for the rest of my goddamn life.
Then you.
Well, this is gonna piss some people off.
You came here with nothing but a guitar. You never talk about your family, your past.
People make up their past, Sylvie. They remember what they want. They forget the rest.
I want to know which side he's on.
I'm not sure they want to hear what I want to play, Johnny.
I want to hear it.
So I think everybody on this podcast knows how I feel about biopics. I don't like them.
You don't like them.
In general, I don't. And the reason I don't like them is I just kind of almost don't see the need for them. Like, I don't understand why anyone made this movie. Like, I'm not talking about this movie. I just, in general, biopics. I don't know why people make them, but they're very popular, and they're very popular with the Oscars. I will say that I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. And I think one of the reasons I enjoyed this, despite it being a biopic, is what Mandy referred to, is it wasn't like, oh, he's a young man and you see this, oh, he's looking at a window and there's a guitar in there and he's like looking at it in a certain way. And you're like, oh, well, that's going to mean something. Like, it's just those, I hate that. It was just a slice of his life. He comes in, he's already, something. And the performances are really good. I really do like James Mangold as a director. He has directed he's directed my favorite superhero movie, which is Logan. And I think the performances are really strong. Timothée Chalamet was really good. And I do think Bob Dylan could take some notes. Like, if he's just a little more like Timothée Chalamet, I think people would like him more. And no, but it does also reacquaint you with some of his music, and some of the music they played is like from my favorite Dylan album. So I knew like a lot of that stuff, but there were other earlier tracks that I had not been familiar with. And so I think it's a very strong movie. I think the writing is good. The directing is good. The performances, I agree. Elle Fanning was perhaps overlooked for a Best Supporting Actress role. And really good. I highly recommend seeing it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I will see it eventually. All right. Let's move on to Conclave, directed by Edward Berger. Rafe, who's seen it? I'll just start there. Who's seen it? We've all seen it. Okay, Mike, why don't you start with this one, Mike?
I personally put this as probably one of my top films of the year. I just absolutely love this movie. I think tone-wise, visually, editing, writing, acting, all of it worked so well together. And as I'm looking through the list as we're talking, I don't know if I have something that's higher on my list from all the nominees. I know. It's just, I'm giving it away already. Mm-hmm. It's a perfect song. No, but yeah, no,
it's timeless. It's a timeless film.
It didn't even have any music in it.
I thought going in that I was going to be bored off my ass.
I did too.
Oh my God, I'm gonna watch the electing a new pope process. Oh Jesus Christ! I might as well watch paint dry. However, it's beautiful. I think it's one of the most beautiful films that we saw this past year, and I think it's just absolutely great. Ray Fiennes is probably one of our greatest actors. I just think that I think that he's just absolutely everything he does, touches, just is amazing.
The Pope is dead. The throne is vacant.
The Conclave begins now. We're about to choose the most famous man in the world.
And 1.25 billion souls watching.
Let's say this is a pretty fair vision of hell. Well, don't be blasphemous, Ray. Hell arrives tomorrow when we bring in the cardinals.
No sane man would want the papacy.
Some of our colleagues seem to want it. Another cardinal has just turned up. He was never on our list. He has to be an imposter.
You look anxious. Everything under control.
And I thought casting-wise, Stanley Tucci, John Lithgow, all the people in it were exceptional.
I was going to say it was a stacked cast there. There's a lot of...
Yeah, it was. And I even thought the twist worked for me. I think it worked really well for me. And a lot of people thought it was a little bit too much and too forced, but not for me. I thought it worked. So anyway, I'm not going to say what the twist is because people who haven't seen it. But yeah, I do feel like it works really well. And actually, Juliette Binoche was also somebody who I thought was she should have.
You mean
not
Isabella Rossellini?
Isabella Rossellini. Sorry
okay.
about that.
I know who you meant.
And she got nominated.
You want to start it over, Mike?
Juliette Binoche of Italy.
Of Italy, yeah. Thank you.
That was Ray
that
Fiennes
is true.
in The English Patient with her.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I thought she was amazing too. And so, and I like the fact that I hadn't seen her do anything for years, and she comes back and just gives this incredible performance. So,
all right.
So anyway, it's my top film. So,
all right. How about Al? What did you think of this?
I agree with a lot of what Mike said. Visually, it's a quite stunning film, in part because of just where it's set, but also deliberately so. And I agree, Ray Fiennes is fantastic, and he really draws you in. It's interesting. I saw this in the theaters. I really liked it, and then we were on a plane last weekend, and someone was watching the movie on their laptop, like across the aisle in front of me, and I couldn't stop watching. And he had the closed caption on, so I could follow everything that was being said. And I, like, even though I could have just put it on, I just was watching his version of it, and it's really good. It's really gripping, a lot more gripping than I would have expected. You know, I expected this to be like a sort of dry, well, this is an Oscar movie about important things. And it was much more engaging than that.
Yeah.
What'd you think of Juliette Binoche? Oh,
yeah, you know what? When I found out she was actually playing the John Lithgow part, I thought, that's really good. Like, I thought it was John Lithgow.
It's almost like you didn't even know it was her.
It's a crime. She wasn't nominated for that. How about you, Mandy?
For me, I'm actually the opposite of all of you guys. Like, I didn't know the whole no, I liked the movie. What I was going to say was I didn't walk into it thinking like, oh, this subject matter. Like, I didn't know the whole process of how you elect a pope. I knew about the smoke, but other than that, like, I didn't know like that you all had to, like, it had to be a majority or like everybody had to, like, I didn't know the process. So that part to me was very interesting. I super loved the costumes and that the crosses. So that part for me, and I kept like whispering down, I'm like, I love how like everybody's cross is different. I loved Isabella Rossellini. Like, I thought her part, especially when she comes in the like cafeteria area and makes that whole statement and declaration. I love that scene. I also agree with Mike and Alan about just the setting and how beautiful it was and the cinematography. All of that's beautiful. But yeah, no, and I know this sounds so silly, but again, my favorite part what's the cross? And everybody's different cross. I just was so into it. I'm like, look at all the different ones. And then, and not, again, spoiler alert, not to ruin anything, in that last scene where they are, not last scene, but when they're all talking right before they make their final decision, and the one they choose, what he says about the Catholic Church moving forward, like, it was so powerful. And that part I really enjoyed as well. So,
yeah.
That's that actor, by the way, just to give him credit, because he was really good, is Lucian, and I'm probably going to butcher his last name, Msamati, Msamati, Msamati. That's how I would pronounce it. He was really good. And that scene where he is praying with Ray Fiennes is a really strong scene.
Yeah.
when they're sitting on the side of the bed and he asks them to come over and pray. Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
So for me, this is one of the when we were going to do this show, I said I got to see these movies because I had only seen maybe 3 or 4 of them 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. This is like the first one I watched, when I started my journey, and I watched it and I said, oh, again, at my expectation, I didn't know what to expect. I thought it might be a little dull. But I finished it and I went, oh, I'm not sure any other movies are going to be better than this. I was like, I really liked it. This one works because it has the great themes behind it. For me, it's superbly crafted, and it's commenting on religion, faith, and even bigger than that, or the main thing for me was what it means to be, quote, worthy of a station or worthy of a role.
Yeah.
They're all vying to be Pope, and you have all these different personalities. You have the one that's like, the favorite or the driven, the one that I want this and I need this, and or the one that, I don't really want this kind of thing, and then the outsider who seems to be just rooted in the message and not about politics, and they have all these people vying for it. And then you have to have, that right there is like, oh, who is worthy of being the Pope? But at the same time, and it's funny, Ray Fiennes' character just all throughout the movie says, oh, I don't want it. I don't have faith. He's having crisis of faith. Does he have the faith to do it, And then the twist at the end, I think it's fine too, Mike. I think it's, at first I'm like, what? That seems strange. But then I went, but it's perfect. It fits perfectly with the theme of this whole film about being worthy and who is allowed to do things or allowed to head up this organization,
I think it goes back to something you mentioned earlier on regarding another movie. This particular movie connects on so many emotional levels, and you really feel a lot for every person involved, of the main people, every person involved of the cast, especially Ray Fiennes' character. I don't know how he does it so well, but you feel his crisis.
Certainty is the great enemy of unity. Certainty is the deadly enemy of tolerance. Even Christ was not certain at the end. Dio mio, perché mi hai abbandonato, he cried out in his agony at the 9th hour on the cross. Our faith is a living thing precisely because it walks hand in hand with doubt. If there was only certainty and no doubt, there would be no mystery, and therefore no need for faith.
He's great. We got to move on. Let's keep going here. Dune, Part 2. Denis Villeneuve. I don't know how to say his name. Villeneuve. I don't have a lot to say. I'll start. It's a great movie. I love the first one. I think this one was great too. I didn't know Dune lore. I've never read the books. I actually never watched the Lynch Dune all the way through ever. So I'm watching this one, just, kind of fresh, the whole arc of the story. And I really loved this one. Part 2 was great. I didn't realize there was going to be a part 3. So, and again, I love the direction, like I always do, from him. And I think technically great. Again, the subject or the source material, is what it is. It's not necessarily my cup of tea. It feels like, okay, it's like what, Jesus story, and you're just extrapolating it with worms and stuff. Okay, cool. I think it's fine. Sorry, I'm gonna get Dune
No,
hate.
it's hilarious. I think it's great.
But I think it's fine. And it's nothing, but it's the material is being handled by a very talented bunch of people. So I really like the movie. It's a great movie. I'm going to stop there.
Have you ever had a dream about your first ride?
Don't try to impress anyone. You're brave, we all know that. Be simple. Be direct. Nothing fancy.
I understand.
I really enjoyed the movie. I would not put it as one of my tops of the year, of course. And I think there's no surprise there. This is like one of those movies where everything is like works perfectly visually. I just, in the end, I can't put it up there as like it should win any best picture. So
okay, how about you guys?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I feel like it was a great movie, total blockbuster, visually stunning. It's kind of, I'm not going to put it in the same category as Barbie because I felt like Barbie had, for me, at least as a woman, more of a message. And I do think it had something to say, but it was just like that in the way of that overall, it's a great movie, great acting, great effects, but best picture, again, I think since they've made the category so big now that there's 10 nominees instead of, what was it before, like 5 or 6?
It's 5.
It's 5,
yeah. To where now it just opens it up to like, let's throw in like the big movie of the summer, or let's like something that wouldn't necessarily be a nomination is now getting nominated. So I feel like there are a few in there that are part of that, and that this is one of them. And again, made a ton of money, great actors. And I do like that Dune 2, though, added in some good folks. Like I love me and Austin Butler. It also threw in, what's the girl that I also like? She's
Florence Pugh.
Yes. And of course, I love me a Timothy, as I said before.
Timothy, we're back.
He's back. So, I mean, hey, he's in 2 of the Best Picture nominees. Shouldn't that get him a Best Actor too? I think it should.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, it was eye candy for sure. It was a beautiful looking film. It's kind of the Barbie for sci-fi goths, It's everyone enjoyed it. Everyone had a good time. But interesting that you guys bring up the first one. To me, it was just an extension of that, which, I mean, it doesn't need to be anything but an extension of that.
Right.
There were some new things, but yeah, I mean, I liked this movie a lot. I would see it again, but there wasn't any part that really grabbed to me. And it's not, even though it has Rebecca Ferguson in it, there's nothing that really grabbed me at an emotional core. Because I love me a Rebecca Ferguson.
Okay.
And who doesn't? I mean,
never enough.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a